There will likely be much more to this story as Democrats in Congress vow to continue to investigate. As Senator Durbin said on Wednesday, quote, "We were so close to a constitutional crisis at that moment that it bears continued investigation and disclosure."
Looking into how and why a U.S. nuclear submarine collided with something while underwater in the Pacific. The USS Connecticut was damaged when last Saturday it struck an unknown submerged object, reportedly while in the South China Sea. Some crew members were injured, but the Navy said their injuries were not life-threatening. The Connecticut is headed to port in Guam, where the damage will be assessed. Such a collision is possible because nuclear submarines sometimes turn off their sonar system so that they can't be tracked, but that compromises the crew's ability to see uncharted underwater obstructions.
Well, it's been an up and down 24 hours, to say the least, for West.
Yes, of course.
I mean, I hope he gets season tickets.
He was attacked.
Was he attacked?
He was attacked.
Viciously. Supposed to report to prison to begin a 17-year sentence.
They let him turn himself into jail with no escort.
No one thought he would run.
How do you evade capture for 25 years? How do you do that?
Now, join the search, following the U.S. Marshals as they uncover new leads in a global manhunt. Can you...
Named Monica Lewinsky. I do.
How long has this been going on?
We have to be really careful.
Someone needs to go public.
I want to say one thing to the American people. These allegations are false.
Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart that he did this.
Let's not mince words. We are missing 3 previous gold medalists in this contest, but the green, and I know he's wanting gold. I'm a big color guy. Whoa. But who's he up against? Dusty Henriksen. He's wearing a tap-out shirt today, but he's about to tap in to this slopestyle final. Got a lot of momentum from that knuckle hut gold, so let's see if we can carry that over to the slope course, Brando.
Yeah, Dusty Henriksen, by the way, an X Games rookie.
We'll be speaking to Ireland's Finance Minister, Pascal Donoghue, in an exclusive interview at 10 a.m. London time. The UK has eased entry rules for 47 countries and territories.
CEO, Chief Entertaining Officer.
A little bit overhyped. I think there's a couple of factors. The longer term ones are that the Fed now owns about a third of the mortgage-backed market, and they don't hedge. Banks own another third. They don't tend to hedge either. So 2/3 of the market is owned by actors who don't tend to actively hedge, and therefore that short term. The market seems to have got itself quite short treasuries in expectation yields are going to go higher. So there's less of a market to be taken by surprise, to be stopped out now that we've kind of stopped ahead of that level. Of course, if we get above 1.6% and we start drifting higher, everyone will get excited saying it. It might influence just by the word alone, but I don't think there's some real flows there.
Okay, so a lot of people kind of seeing it coming, and maybe it isn't as big as it used to be as a driver of markets. Okay, coming up on the programme, we'll look at the stocks we're watching, including the chip sector after Samsung's profits jump. Shortage of chips, good for some people, of course. This is Bloomberg.
Not sure the truth to that, but I've heard some rumors.
The Bolivians and the Bolivian quinoa farmers, they haven't been down there. They haven't seen or talked to the farmers themselves. And
10 minutes or so, 11, until the start of European equity trading. Actually, futures in Europe improving just a little bit as we edge towards the start of trade. And the jobs report due out of the US later. Let's think about where we are on the UK narrative right now. Rising bond yields and oil prices have been creating havoc in stock markets, but with a scenario. Joining us now is Tim Craighead, Bloomberg Intelligence European Equity Strategy. Tim, very good to have you with us. So why do you see rising yields and energy prices as positive for the FTSE versus the rest of Europe? You've got to have enough big banks and big oil companies or big energy companies to make that work, I suppose.
Yeah, indeed. That really gets to the point of it. You know the old saying, if you can't beat them, join them. Well, we don't think you can beat market. As you said, it's over a quarter of the index that flows into these groups. That's substantially more than the OMX, the SMI, the DAX, the CAC. And importantly, not only is that a case with energy exposure, with FTSE having BP and Shell, but on the interest rate front, you know, gilts have jumped from a yield perspective more so than elsewhere. And so even though you've got the sweet potential for net interest margins or net interest income like we see in the UK.